Hello, everyone. So I'm starting a series where I review pro games. I prefer to study older games, but I will also do some more modern ones in the future. So today I'm going to review a game played between Kitani Minoru and Sakata Io. I'm not very good at pronouncing names. Kitani is one of my favorite players, so you'll probably be seeing a lot of his games. But in this game, Kitani is white and Sakata is black. So let's get started. At this time, 3-4s were much more popular than 4-4s. So older games do have a lot more 3-4 openings. And black approaches this corner. It's more common nowadays to see like a corner enclosure right away. But even then, corner enclosures, even though it's probably more of the smaller one, were also played. But Sakata, I think he likes to make the game more active and complicated because he doesn't like having lots of solid groups on the board. He likes to keep things weak or weaker, and white approaches here. So nowadays you might see more like this, but because there's no Komi in this game, probably should have mentioned that sooner. Yeah, there's no Komi. White has to try and make up the difference of black going first. So white also needs to try and be more active. When white has Komi, he can be more relaxed and just kind of let black do all the initiating, because he has Komi to make up for that difference. And black just takes a corner here. So again, Sakata doesn't like solid openings, so he doesn't want to like play something like this and let white make a base. And in more modern Go, you'd probably would see this press down, and then maybe Tanuking to the top, just trying to make this a little bit stronger first. But I think Sakata wouldn't like this because white is also getting stronger, and he wants to keep everything kind of unsettled. And nowadays, you probably would see white playing something like this and doing the same thing, and then probably Tanuking over here because black is being pressed down, and this stone doesn't really have any potential to make a lot of points. And at this point in time, they consider this move to be very big, so they would consider this to be good for black because black got the side that looks like both players would want. Like white would want to play here to develop this one, and black wants to play here to develop this one. But since black plays here, they don't like this. But in modern Go, this isn't considered as big because they consider this group strong enough, and there's lots of things white can do to reduce it. But at this time, white just plays here to prevent the wing formation. Wing formation was considered very good for black. And the only time that they wouldn't prevent one is if they already had one themselves. But this is not really the case anymore. But I still think a wing formation is probably pretty good. It was just a lot more popular back then. Okay, so now it's time to talk about the first corner. So this move would be an option, and then white will play here, and then black could do something over here to try and develop this side. But I think Sakata doesn't like this kind of move because it makes white very strong, and he wants to keep both sides unsettled so that he can attack later. So instead of playing this one, he plays here. So this is threatening to separate white's group. Playing something like this to connect under just feels a bit passive. When black just connects here, he's getting some potential on the bottom side and would be very strong. White still has lots of weaknesses over here and is not making that many points. And later on, when black gets a stone here, black can like peep here and do some more stuff. So this just doesn't feel good for white. So white jumps out here. If black pushes and cuts, it's can get pretty complicated. Playing here, I think, would be okay for black because this stone is in an awkward place for white. White can't really just connect under like this. And if you play on top, it's really hard to capture this. And white feels like the stone is kind of split and cut off. And there's just lots of weaknesses here. So I would prefer this as black. But Sakata plays this push and cut, which again, this can make the corner very complicated depending on how white plays. Like if white plays here, there's very complicated things that can happen here. And then there's like this cut, and this is not really live. This corner is in danger. This is in danger. There's a cut here. It just gets very, very complicated. And so I think white wanted to try and avoid those complications and play this one. The variations for this one are a bit more simple. Black has to Hane here. If white plays this outside Hane, it also can get pretty complicated. Yeah, black just connects. White has to Atari out, then defend the cutting points. Black can cut here. It just gets really complicated. Like white can do something like this in the corner, trying to jump out, or even try to go the other way first, and then the corner can get in trouble. Or black can kind of just defend the corner here. White jumps out. Black blocks here. So the game gets very complicated. Quick variation I came up with, but even then it gets very complicated. So this is kind of what Sakata wants. He wants to keep it very complicated. And Kitani, I don't think he wanted to make it complicated, so he tries to keep it simple. So he played this move, which looks a bit surprising because it feels like, they're just going to capture it and that's about it. But it leads to almost a one-way street where the game is still some complications, but it's not nearly as complicated as the other variation. And again, here, black doesn't have a ladder in either direction, so he can't play there. And obviously, if he extends here, white will just capture. So black is kind of forced to play here. And then white squeezes and then comes over here to protect this group. The reason he plays high here is because if you play low, black can kind of force him down and then come back and live. And then white has two groups that look a little bit weak. And no matter which way white tries to run out, one of them is getting attacked. This way, it's a little bit different because there's A, which is leading to a ladder, and B, so if he defends over here, later white can still play this Hane to try and make good shape. So the shape is a little bit better here, although white probably has to run out first. But if black Hane is here, white is running out, attacking this group. And if black goes this way, then white can Hane, trying to make shape on the bottom side. To me, this next sequence is kind of very pretty. It all seems kind of forced, and it's just people defending their groups, which in my videos, that's like the biggest thing I try to get people to start doing is just defending, because a lot of people don't seem to do it that much. So black just defends his corner. White defends this weakest group by just running out. Black goes here to connect his stones together. White defends his weaker group. Black defends his weaker group. This got stronger, this got weaker, so of course white just defends it. Even though it probably won't die if white plays here, so black could Tanuki here. But playing this move makes everything a little bit easier for black, because he doesn't have to worry about this group getting weak at all. And there's also this weakness at B he can attach here, and then later can play at C to try and attack the whole group. And because this is so strong, he doesn't really have to worry about it. And also if white plays at A, then there's still weaknesses here. So like he can play here because he can threaten to connect under. And if white blocks here, this group is alive. Like there's nothing white can do, so that means black can be more forceful on this side. And if they go under, then he can just connect under. So while I think this move looks very slow, it's kind of building up strength to try and attack later. Okay, so after defending here, white does make a base here for his group. And this is also putting pressure on the single stone here. So black could try and do something like this. But it feels like he's not really getting much. He doesn't get much points. He's not really affecting this group. White's getting some potential over here and developing this side, so it just feels really bad. Black could also try to do this one, which might be a little bit better, but because of this stone here, it feels like it's just a weak group. It's probably not the easiest to attack, but you can see that he has kind of a weak group here and kind of a weak group here. And while there is Aji here, if black jumps in right away, white will get stronger and can attack this easier. So black plays here, which I think is a pretty cool move. Kind of trying to connect to this. It's also trying to make this move useful in a more efficient way by attacking white. So if white tries to defend here, it could get a little bit complicated where like black can kind of just cut this off and try and attack these. It could turn into a fight because yeah, it gets a little bit weird here. But this probably is a little bit better for white. But I don't think the game variation is that bad. Because this move is very solid, but it also kind of gives black exactly what he wanted, which what he wants is to attach here, and is trying to kind of connect all of these in a efficient way so that he doesn't have to worry about this stone. Because of the same weaknesses over here, if white tries to Hane here, Black is just going to try to cut these off. And there's no co-threats in the opening, so there's not much white can do. Like if he goes here, no matter what white does, black is just going to connect here. And if white tries to do something like this, black is just going to kind of sacrifice this one and get out, making this group a lot stronger. And next could play a move here, trying to put pressure on the corner. This group does get a little bit weaker, but because this group still has some weaknesses, I feel like it'll be okay getting out. But the main thing is he got this group stronger and is also making kind of some points here and is looking to attack. So instead, white played here to prevent that. If black just Hanes here, white is just going to Atari and connect. So now white is out into the center. This group is starting to look weaker, because now it doesn't really connect to anything. And at the same time, this is also getting weaker. So it feels like black needs to add a move here because it's getting kind of heavy. If black doesn't do that and white kind of just kicks here, even if he can make an eye here, here kind of takes it away and he just has a weak group and white is making points in the corner. So instead, white does this crosscut, which I think is, again, pretty cool. Okay, so what black really wants is for white to just capture. So he can play here and here. And now he has a good shape here to where he could just Tanuki somewhere else. So instead, to try and prevent that variation, white plays this Atari first. And now when he captures here, this one stone makes his shape a lot worse. White can kind of run out here, can capture, and then when he goes here, there's still a cut here. So black shape is not very good. So if black tries to directly capture this, white can kind of just be patient here and play here. It feels like black kind of needs to capture here or else he can get very weak because later, say he plays somewhere else, he goes here, he has to come back and try and fix this cut somehow. And pretty much no matter what he does, like he doesn't have two eyes. If he gets a move here to split it, it's very, very big. But even if he tries to defend here, there's still cutting points. So it feels very painful. So instead of Tanukiing, he plays this move. So this stone is trying to put pressure on this white stone to fix his weaknesses in a more active way. So white just attaches here, and they play this way. And now there's this move. I don't really think there was a good way for black to prevent this without losing a lot. And black still has a lot of Aji here he can mess with. So black just pushes through here and cuts. So white has to be really careful here. Black could Atari and connect, which even if white can still kind of connect under here, I feel like white is pressed very low here and it just doesn't feel good. And there's even like cove stuff here and can push. So white is not really making any points here. And black gets a little bit stronger on the outside. Probably needs to add a move, but still I would say this is probably okay for black. So instead he plays this Atari first and then here. So now because he has this extra liberty here, he can connect, which black could play here, but when he connects, he's capturing the corner. So instead he plays here, which is threatening the double Atari. So white has to fix this. And then black plays here. So I do feel like white probably has more liberties here, so there's really not much black can do, especially after this attach here. If black tries to do something like this, white just has more liberties and would be able to capture first. So instead, black offers a trade. So black pretty much lives in the corner here, but loses these. There is some potential for some stuff here. So I would say this is probably kind of even. I prefer white, but black did take away his corner. And white didn't get that many points, and black got some stones on the outside, especially with no Komi. If there was Komi, I think it would be white for sure, but since no Komi, it feels like it's probably about even. And black doesn't have to worry about playing here and just kind of forcing white to fix, because white will never play here. So let's say black Tanuki. White will never play here because black doesn't really care if he loses this corner. But if black starts this ko, like white is risking everything, all these stones and these stones. So the risk is too great for white to make a ko like this. Okay, so now A and B are now the weakest groups on the board, and it's black's turn. So he just simply defends his weak group. But while defending this, he's making it stronger, which is making this group weaker. So now he can play over here and really attack it, because this should be Sente. He has to connect, and then when he plays here, White doesn't have two eyes yet. But the one problem with this is if he defends here, it feels a little bit slow. He's not really making that many points here, and all he's doing is really living. So this is the first time where he's probably pretty confident he can still live here or run out. But the benefit of defending here is not as big as what Black can get if he does this. So when he plays here, it's now Black's turn. So now Black can play here, which he now has like sort of a wall here. It does have some weak points, but it's not that big of a deal. But this is very big, and reducing this, Black will be able to put pressure on this corner, which might make him some points over here. So Kitani didn't want this, so even though he can still be attacked here, he felt he needed to play here, which is giving him a big corner, reducing all the potential he had over here. And so it seems like it's probably okay. White really wants to play here next as well, because when he plays here, it's reducing this side and growing this side. But White doesn't really have time to do that because of this weak group here. So Black plays here to put pressure on it and is also making some points here. And White just jumps out to the center, which is stopping him from surrounding him and making a sort of a moyo here. And this group still is not 100% alive because, again, there's like this move, can peep, do this. So this can potentially become very weak. But Black, I think, felt like it was bigger to try and finish the frameworks. So Black plays here next, which definitely seems very big. And again, instead of defending, which would be too slow, White just plays here, which again is protecting his corner, making it stronger from invasions here, and is also aiming at this invasion over here. So I think the reason he didn't go all the way here is because this is more threatening, because he can invade here, and then there's attachment under, can run out, and also some weaknesses in the corner. So if White played here, Black was probably going to jump here. This becomes much harder to invade. So I feel like this move is defending the corner, but is also making it less likely that Black will defend here and will play something else. And Black did do that. He played this move. Now the framework is kind of complete. So these were kind of just the first two Josekis, even though they were kind of long and complicated. But this feels like it's probably like the end of the opening, which is 71 moves is pretty far. So it felt like it went from opening to middle game-ish, back to opening. But after this one, I think we can officially say it's the start of the middle game. And White does invade. If Black tries to kill this, pretty easy to live. White kind of just push here, play in this corner. And if Black blocks, it's pretty simple to just try and live here. And since this was a lot of Black's points, and it's kind of a low points game, this is pretty impactful. And if Black tries to play here, Black is just a little too weak to do this, especially after there's some stones here. So I can just Hane and play the Tiger's Mouth. And when he pushes through here, Black just has too many weaknesses to deal with. So it gets very, very hard to deal with. And even if Black tries to like go here, White won't play a Ko. He'll just solidly connect and connect here again. And then again, it's the same weaknesses, and Black's a little bit stronger because he doesn't have this Atari to deal with. So in the game, Black just simply defends his corner. So it's taking points, and it makes it a little bit easier to try and attack this because he doesn't have a base and is forced to run out. So it turns into a running fight. If White just simply jumps out here, there's this peep, and Black can kind of jump out like this. And Black is kind of ahead and is making some potential in the center. So White tries this one, which is threatening. If Black were to Snooki, he can just go here. So obviously Black has to respond. And he just runs out. And so here it feels more like White is attacking Black. Because if Black does anything to Snooki and White turns here, it feels like it gets into a lot of trouble. So they just keep pushing. And at this point, turn is still pretty powerful, but not as powerful. And because this is farther away now, he doesn't have to worry about cuts as much. So now he finally jumps out here. So he's trying to get ahead of White. And in most running fights, that's the main goal, is you want to get ahead of your opponent so that you can make the profit and you can dictate where things go. So the fun part of running fights is always trying to get control. So again, black here or white here is trying to jump ahead, and then black is trying to stay ahead, and then white goes here. Again, trying to keep ahead of the other person. It's kind of like a race. You want to win the race and stay ahead. Here, it's kind of finished because white is pretty much connected. This cut is not working because you can push. If he goes here, you just extend and it's fine. If he keeps trying to push, you can just connect and this will just die. Okay, and because now the running fight is kind of over, black wants to try and make some profit here. So the most obvious moves would probably be something over here, but white has like this push and cut, and this is not completely alive and connected. So there is a chance white can reduce by attacking this. So black plays a patient move here and is just trying to connect to the stones. And of course now it's getting dangerous to make points here, so white just attaches here, which is a good way to try and reduce while staying connected to your groups. Black obviously has to try and prevent that. And now this is the last chance of trying to probe this corner. And there is a lot of Aji here, so you don't want to just let white take it without paying anything. If white were to try and do something like this, there's a lot of Aji here. Like there's this cross cut, and then black can live in the corner, or can like push an Atari through here. There's even stuff like maybe a clamp here to cut this off. It gets very complicated. So white just simply backs off here. Later, there's potential for a ko like this, but white is pretty strong on the outside now. So if black were to try and do this, maybe white can resist, but there is still a lot of weaknesses here. So playing a ko is probably the safest way. Okay, and black simply comes back and defends. Again, playing a move here is very big, so white Hane is here to prevent it. Black Hane is back. So just simply going here is probably good enough, but I think Kitani wanted to get a little bit extra and also fix some of his weaknesses at the same time and reduce the center at the same time. So he pushes through and cuts here. And because this is very weak, black doesn't really have the option of trying to resist this. He's kind of forced to play out this way. And when he goes here, they're still cutting points. So black tries to play here, which is trying to connect these stones together in the most efficient way possible. But white can turn here, which again is threatening to cut it off. But at the same time, it's reducing all of his center potential. Is also making sure this can't run out, because before, without this stone, if he goes here, he can't just Hane right away because there's an Atari, and he can connect here. So this is getting him some points, connecting all of his stones and making them even stronger, and is also threatening to cut off these. And so black again is trying to connect in the most efficient way. And then now that ko gets pretty dangerous because if white doesn't respond here and he does the ko, if black wins the ko, white doesn't really have any eyes, especially now that there's extra stones here, and he doesn't really have anywhere to run away. And it gets especially dangerous if he tries to resist it. Yeah, because he can maybe even just cut right away. And there's an Atari here, and white can't really do anything this way either with ladders, so it's very complicated. So white just simply defends here. Okay, and then I'm just going to go ahead and end the review here. Let me know in the comments if you want to see part 2 of this for the rest of the game. And if you like the series of me reviewing pro games, I'm probably going to start with older games, especially Kitani games, because I really like how he plays. If you want to recommend some pros, I can take notes, and maybe in the future I can review some of their games as well. So, well, thank you for watching. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you next time.